picture this. You find what looks like the perfect home in Dallas. It's exactly what you've been looking for, and when you see the price tag, it just had a massive price cut. I mean, suddenly you feel like you've hit the jackpot, but what if the whole list price and price cut is just a huge scam? Well, there's a good chance it is, and that's just one trap among many you need to know about before you buy a home in Dallas. Well, hello, this is Wendy Pennell, and buying a home is just wrapped up in emotion, isn't it? I mean, there's like the whole dream home aspect, and then there's the need to feel like you've won, and then just the anticipation of starting life in a completely different place. Well, I get that, okay? Believe me, I do. But there are some situations you should never buy in without some serious due diligence. So in this video, it's time to check your emotion at the door while we talk about the 3 biggest ways you can get trapped in a money pit nightmare. Well, we're not gonna start off by talking about the age of the home or the condition. We're gonna talk about the how you buy, because you may find a home you absolutely fall in love with, but how you buy isn't always up to you. So first off, tip number 1, never ever buy based on a price cut alone. I mean, you might think that you've struck gold when you see a home with that big price cut. I mean, the price has dropped and you're already imagining the keys in your hand. But hang on a second, okay? Have you ever asked why the price was cut in the first place? A price cut isn't always what it seems. Like, you need to know how builders use this as a tactic. Okay, what they'll do is they'll list a home at an inflated price. I mean, maybe even a few $100,000 more than it's worth. Then they slash the price, you know, and it looks like you're getting like this fantastic deal. But here's the thing, even after that steep discount, the home could still be overpriced. To truly understand if you're getting a good deal, you need a market analysis. And this is where a realtor has to step into the game, because Texas is a non-disclosure state. You're going to need a realtor or an appraiser to find information on closed sales. It happens with my clients all the time, right? We'll find a home they want to buy, then we do the market analysis to show what the home is really worth. I mean, you may very well be a whiz at negotiation, but if you don't know the real market value of the home, your skills will not get you far, okay? Now, you may feel like you've negotiated a fantastic deal, okay? You know, that whole emotional need to win that I mentioned earlier, and you can get yourself right into a home purchase that you're upside down on, because at the end of the day, your negotiation skills don't mean squat if you don't know the market value to begin with, all right? And that's exactly what home builders are banking on. Now, along those same lines, don't trust every housing market crash video you see out there. Okay, they will show you homes with massive price cuts and claim it's a sign that the market is collapsing. But what if that listing has just gone from way overpriced to still overpriced? All right, that's not a reliable sign that the market's crashing. But the problem is, you know, that it creates FOMO, okay? You know, that whole fear of missing out. And that FOMO is what's so dangerous when you're talking about builders intentionally overpricing their homes to begin with. You end up with this whole faulty foundation, right? You have home builders overpricing their homes and market crashers pointing out price reductions as a sign that the market is crashing. Active homes for sale, price reductions, okay, none of those will really tell you if a home is a good deal. You have to look at closed sales. Now, Matt Woods, co-founder and CEO of Sold.com, completely agrees with me, okay? He says, don't mistake a price-reduced home for being an automatic bargain. If a house is listed as price reduced, have your broker or agent do some investigating into why. So, moral of the story, don't be fooled by price reductions. They might catch your eye and they might look like a good deal, but you'll never truly know without a comprehensive market analysis. And for that, okay, you're gonna need a realtor, right, who knows what they're doing. And by the way, if we sound like your cup of joe, you're definitely gonna wanna check out our Let's Find Home questionnaire that you can find in the description section. Another massive trap a buyer can fall into is buying through a small, lesser known builder. All right, you might think, contract's a contract, a builder's a builder, right? Well, not so fast, okay? Because just because a home is listed on the MLS and labeled as new construction doesn't authenticate the builder. You need to do some research on that builder. Check out the Better Business Bureau, right? Consumer Affairs, or honestly, it's pretty easy. Just check out Google reviews. Now, along those same lines, you need to pay close attention to the contract forms they use. Combining a little-known builder with a predatory contract, okay, that's just like a recipe for disaster. What you want to be looking out for are contracts that include things like non-refundable earnest money, shorter inspection periods, and even scenarios where the builder will try to corner you into using their lender. For example, we've recently worked with a home builder in Lucas, and I'm telling you, their contract is one of the most one-sided agreements I have ever seen. In their contract, they separate earnest money from the initial cash payment, and that latter is non-refundable from the moment you make it. I mean, imagine being on the hook, for a $20,000 non-refundable initial cash payment. I mean, that is just outrageous. And just imagine that you discover a material defect of the property during your inspection period. Okay, you're still out $20,000 because it's non-refundable. Right? I'm thinking a hard no on that one. And it gets worse, okay? That particular contract requires you to provide reasonable evidence of financial arrangements within 15 days. So fail to do so, and you're in default. At that point, not only could you lose your initial cash payment and your earnest money, but the builder could also seek further damages. Now, what happens if the builder is the one who defaults? Well, according to their contract, you'll only get your earnest money back. I mean, that's it. They still get to keep the whole hefty initial cash payment. So this is a total lose-lose situation for the buyer and a win-win for the builder. So bottom line, be extremely cautious with lesser-known builders and be cautious with all contracts. Okay, make sure you thoroughly read and understand the contract, or better yet, have a real estate attorney go through it with you. Now, I want to tell you another way to buy a home that might sound like a steal on paper, but it could cost you the entire home. All right, have you ever heard of properties being sold on the courthouse steps? Okay, you can literally, truly, in all seriousness, buy a home on the courthouse steps for 10 grand. Like, no joke, it can absolutely be done. But your problem and your fatal flaw here is you're buying outside of a title company. So let me explain. Okay, did you know that mortgage companies aren't the only parties with foreclosure power? Okay, homeowners associations, taxing authorities, okay, they can foreclose on a homesteaded home, right? A home where the owner lives there, and on a non-homesteaded home, okay, we're talking like a rental, okay? Pretty much any creditor can get a lien against a property and foreclose on it. So say the owner didn't pay their HOA fines. All right, the HOA could place a lien on the home and foreclose to get paid. And all you have to do is show up at the courthouse steps, pay off the lien, and you get the house. I mean, granted, there is more to it, right? You're auctioning against other buyers, but let's just say there were no other interested buyers. All right, you pay off that HOA lien and you now own the home. But here's where it gets tricky. You might think you've got an amazing deal, but the mortgage on the house doesn't disappear. I mean, even if you're the new owner, the mortgage company still has a claim on the house. All right, Investopedia explains it this way, okay? They say there may be other claims against the home, not just tax liens. Bidders should ensure the property has a clear title. Imagine you bought one of those homes and you've invested $50,000 in repairs only to find out that the mortgage company is foreclosing on it. All that money, all that effort, just gone. The bank, all right, what they're doing, they're just thanking you for improving their collateral before they take it back. The moral of the story, always, okay, and I mean always, right? Go through a title company. Do not let the allure of a fantastic price blind you to the risks. A title company is going to give you that title insurance, and they're going to scour records for those liens you need to know about. Want a celebrity example? Okay, here's one that'll blow your mind. Years ago, motivational speaker Les Brown purchased a home for him and his mom. Okay, it was a house they both dreamed of, and he had the cash to buy it, and so he did, right? Well, a short time later, he was served with a foreclosure notice from a party that held a lien on the property. I mean, he was shocked, right? How could he possibly be foreclosed on a property that he had just bought? As it turns out, Mr. Brown didn't use a title company, right? And both he and his mother were forced to move out. Okay, he lost all of his money. A simple title search would have prevented the entire ordeal. What about a great deal on Craigslist? Yet another steal of a deal where you're the only one being stolen from are those deals on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Watch out for scammers. especially on properties that want cash up front before you ever see the home. Here's a story from Good Housekeeping that you definitely will not want to repeat. A Kansas City family bought a house on Craigslist and were asked to wire the money to pay for it. The person selling the house told them the front door was unlocked and they could just go in, and then sent a text message telling them to change the locks ASAP. Very weird, right? Well, 2 days later, the police showed up at the door with the real owner, asking them to leave immediately. Okay, well, now that we've talked about the many disastrous ways you shouldn't buy, let's talk about the home itself. Okay, and since this is Texas, let's talk about foundation problems. Now, I get that you may be scratching your head over this one, because I have definitely had some of our relocating buyers ask me, Wendy, what does it even mean to have foundation problems? Right, because in many states, it's unheard of. Okay, well, foundation issues can arise due to various factors. All right, we're talking about the type of soil the home's built on, the quality of the foundation poured, and even the era in which the home was built. Okay, for example, in the 1970s, during a time of really high inflation, many homes were constructed with cheaper materials. In Dallas, most homes built after the 1960s are going to be built with a slab on grade foundation. Okay, this is gonna be no basement, no crawl space, all right? Your concrete is straight on the dirt. A home with a crawl space, right, is gonna be built on pier and beam. And that means if you do have a problem with the home being unlevel, right, you can just go into that crawl space and adjust one pier at a time. But with that slab on grade foundation, you don't have a crawl space, right? The concrete is directly on the dirt, and if the dirt is unstable and shifts or falls, you end up with a bad foundation. Now, added to that, we have the extreme Dallas heat, which is going to do exactly that, okay? It's gonna cause the soil to dry out and shift. So what are some signs of foundation problems? You might notice cracks in the drywall. Okay, doors that swing closed on their own or won't close at all, gaps around your windows, or maybe, you could put a marble on the floor and it just starts rolling, okay? But here's what I want you to know, okay, and this is really important. By and large, my experience has been that foundation problems cannot be permanently fixed. Foundation repair companies, they're gonna come in and they're gonna offer you a lifetime warranty, but you need to not be fooled by that, okay? Because the truth is, these repairs are rarely, if ever, permanent. Okay, now the company will come in and they might install piers to lift and stabilize one side of your home. But then when you start experiencing those symptoms again, what they'll do is they'll blame it on another part of the house. So not to mention, these repairs can get expensive really quick. All right, drilling under the slab is already expensive all on its own. But once you've done that all the way around and it's still not fixed, now you're talking about drilling through the slab in the middle of the home, replacing flooring. Okay, and let's not forget the potential for broken pipes underneath the foundation. Let me give you some personal examples, okay? Back in 2003, getting a loan was a breeze. If you had a pulse, you could pretty much get a loan, right? So we were really excited and eager to get into the rental game. So we went all in and we just buy, one or two. We bought 40 rental properties, okay? The catch was we were complete novices when it came to foundation issues. We were primarily looking for good deals, and we definitely found them. Out of the 40 properties we bought, at least 30 had foundation problems. Now don't miss that, okay? The homes that were the very best deals were the ones with foundation problems. All right, a chronic problem with homes with bad foundations is you cannot get that foundation stabilized, so the home doesn't go up in value. A lot of them go into foreclosure because the owners end up stuck and they can't sell. While for us, the novices, it seemed like a no-brainer to just fix them. So we got rehab loans, and the first thing we would do was tackle the foundation issues. And that's how we learned the hard way that a foundation can never truly be fixed. Now, I'll never forget this one property in Arlington. The foundation cracked in half. There was this huge gap running down the middle of the living room. You could literally feel the crack through the carpet. Then there was this other property in Grand Prairie, okay? The entire house was level except for one side that was 3 inches higher. To level the house, we would have had to lift the entire structure by 3 inches. Right? And as we did that, what's gonna happen? Well, all the pipes underneath are gonna break. So the end result, we had to sell both of those homes at a loss, okay? And we lost quite a bit of money, okay? It was a harsh lesson, but one we definitely will not forget. Another problem with a sinking foundation is you end up with broken pipes, okay? We're talking gas lines, freshwater lines, sewer lines, you name it. Okay, here's another lesson we learned the hard way. In one of our rentals, the toilet plumbing, okay, those pipes broke off from the sewer line, and the tenant kept complaining about a terrible smell. And guess what? Raw sewage was accumulating under the house instead of flowing into the sewer line. So not only, obviously, is that a health hazard, okay, and disgusting one, but that moisture, okay, it further compromises the foundation. The worst part in a situation like this is these broken pipes under the foundation, they're not always obvious, right? But they're down there and they're pouring water under your home, making your foundation issues even worse. So foundation problems, seriously bad news. Okay, another condition you really need to watch out for is chronic drainage and flooding. Okay, yeah, you heard me right, flooding. Some homes are positioned in such a way that they're prone to water damage, okay? And I'm not talking about being near a river or a lake, okay? That's not what I'm talking about here. It can happen due to just ordinary rain, right? And if you've lived in Dallas, like for even a short term, you'll know that, ordinary rain is generally like a massive thunderstorm, right? That comes down in like torrential downpours. I recently heard of an example of a couple who had gone through multiple failed offers trying to get a home. Well, they ended up closing on Christmas Eve, right? They wore Christmas hats to closing. Everyone's all excited, right? Well, about a month later, a random storm came through and flooded their completely renovated master bedroom. Okay, because the problem was there was like a negative slope leading down to the property, and the entire structure was like basically located in a small basin. So water drained straight down and then right into the house. And this wasn't the last time it happened to them either. So what signs should you be looking for? Well, first check for any green discoloration on the exterior brick. Okay, that's a telltale sign of frequent moisture. Inside, look for wet drywall and any signs of mold. Okay, you should also pay attention to the yard. Is it slanted in a way that could direct water toward the house? Okay, that's a red flag. Another clue is the home's position on the street. If it's at the bottom of a slope or at the dead end of a street, okay, you're going to get all the runoff water, and that can cause serious issues. Another sign could be that layout of the yard, right? Is it sloping toward the house? Okay, that could direct water right into your foundation. Also, take a look at the neighboring properties. Okay, if their yards are sloping towards your potential home, you might inherit their drainage problems too. Now, we learned this the hard way, okay? When Dale and I first started out in the property game, okay, we were really green. Okay, so I'm not talking about rentals, I'm talking about like our first 2 homes. So we bought those without understanding the ins and outs of foundation problems, okay? We just trusted our realtors, and to be honest, they didn't offer any guidance on what red flags to look for. So our first 2 homes had foundation issues that were never disclosed. But by the time, we were in the market for our 3rd home, we were like, okay, we got this. We know what to look for, okay? We'd wisened up. We knew exactly what to look for, right? And so our current home, right, our dream home, it doesn't have any foundation problems. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows, okay? Because we still ended up with chronic drainage problems. Okay, so why is drainage such a big issue, right? Well, the first word that comes to mind is water damage, right? Okay, we're talking about water coming into places that it shouldn't, all right? Now, this isn't just, a minor inconvenience, okay? It can cause real structural damage to your home. The water can seep into the walls and ruin your floors. Now, you might be thinking, well, drainage issues can be fixed, right? Okay, yes, they can. But prepare to dig deep into your pockets, okay? Because fixing drainage problems is not cheap. I mean, we're talking, about potentially like tens of thousands of dollars. And if you're thinking, well, insurance will cover it, well, think again, okay? Because most standard home insurance policies, they're not gonna cover fixing the problem that's leading to flooding or water damage. Now, going right along with your drainage problem, of course, is the dreaded M word. All right, we're talking about mold, right? Chronic water penetration creates an environment where mold can grow and thrive, and mold removal is not a simple task. Okay, it often requires like specialized treatment and can be very expensive. Adding yet another cost, right, to your ever-growing list of home repairs. Now, you may be wondering why I'm telling you all this. Well, the reason is simple. Not all realtors will be upfront about these issues. Okay, now I've had personal experience. We worked with 3 different realtors, okay, before I became licensed myself, and who never even mentioned the possibility of foundation or drainage problems. So it is crucial to do your own due diligence. It'll save you a tremendous amount of hassle and money. So you might be asking, how can I steer clear of these drainage pitfalls? Well, first and foremost, due diligence is key, right? So when you're touring potential homes, look for those clues, that could indicate water issues issues. Also, wet drywall, musty smell, okay? And obviously that slant in the yard, all of those are red flags. So think of it this way. When you do all of your due diligence, including a thorough home inspection, and you find that despite the potential drainage issues, you're still in love, at least you know what you're getting into, okay? And you know you're gonna have to prepare for it financially. There just aren't that many realtors who even know what to look for or, are even gonna tell you about these issues. Okay, now let's talk about floor plans. Okay, I cannot stress enough how important it is to choose a universally appealing floor plan. It sounds simple, but you would be surprised at how many people end up buying homes with weird layouts that don't make a ton of sense for most people, and they can make resale really, really hard. So what should you be looking out for in a floor plan? Okay, start with the basics. Make sure the home has a nice sized living area, a designated eating area, a functional kitchen, and enough bedrooms and bathrooms to suit your needs. Okay, now these are the essentials. Without them, you are setting yourself up for a difficult resale in the future. And be wary of homes that waste square footage on rooms with no clear purpose. I have seen houses with random tiny rooms that serve like no practical function whatsoever, and all they do is eat up valuable space. One big red flag to watch out for is a home without a clear eating area. Believe it or not, some homes don't have a designated space for a dining table. All right, that's not just inconvenient. It is a deal breaker for a lot of buyers. And here's a tip. When you walk through the front door, pay attention to what you see first. All right, if you're staring at the back of a fireplace, walk away. All right, that's a layout mistake. And yes, I've actually seen that, okay? It's difficult, if not impossible, to fix, even with a major remodel. So keep these points in mind when you're house hunting. A good floor plan isn't just about aesthetic appeal. It's about functionality, resale value, and making your daily life easier. Now, I want to turn the corner here and talk about where your home is located. Okay, we've talked about how you should never buy, right? And we've talked about, what kind of home you should never buy, but you can hit a home run on both of these issues and still buy in a horrible location. Now, there are, many tangible market-driven issues we could discuss here, right? For example, you want to buy where your home is below the median sales price, right? You always want other nicer homes bringing your home up in value. You want to buy in the best school district you can afford. You want to buy where there's low crime. All right, but let's focus right now on the tangibles, okay? So I want you to think about what you can hear. So if you're viewing a home and you hear constant noise from air traffic or a busy highway, think twice. Okay, because noise pollution is annoying. Even the EPA comments on it, okay? They say noise pollution adversely affects the lives of millions of people. Studies have shown that there are direct links between noise and health. I've been to homes where every few minutes the conversation gets drowned out by the roar of an airplane or the buzz of highway traffic. And trust me, that gets old real quick, all right? And don't even get me started on homes near a fire department, all right? So the sound of sirens at all hours, I'm thinking, that's a hard no. All right, have you ever thought about animals, like barking dogs, and how they can affect peaceful living? It's a complicated question when you're talking about buying a house because, on the one hand, you don't want loud barking dogs to interrupt your quality of life. But on the other hand, you could have a dog move in next door, at any time, right? So here's a good rule of thumb. Look for a backyard with privacy fencing or even a yard where you can build one, right? And then plant some thick shrubs all along the fence. Because a lot of times those annoying dogs are barking because they can hear you. So you want to muffle that noise as much as possible. Another thing you need to pay attention to is what you can see from your property. Okay, for example, if your home backs up to a vacant lot, okay, you may want to do some serious digging. What is that vacant lot zoned for? Is it for sale? Could a gas station or a shopping mall pop up in your backyard in a year or two? Okay, if there's no considerable buffer like woods or green space between your property and that vacant lot, you should absolutely investigate. Now, some vacant lots next door serve as community drainage and they're permanently unavailable for occupancy. So if you don't want neighbors, these can be the absolute best kind of vacant neighbors to watch out for. So here's a good general rule to live by. If you see vacant land adjacent to your home, this is your opportunity to do your due diligence. Find out how it's zoned, whether it's currently for sale, and most importantly, if anyone plans on building on it. All right, while we're talking about where your home is located, let's talk about HOAs, okay? You never want to buy within an HOA without doing some major due diligence, okay? Restrictions can range from where you can park your RV to whether you can have a storage shed or even raise chickens in your backyard. Okay, let me tell you, Some HOAs, they can be a real pain. Okay, they have all sorts of rules that you may find restrictive, and the fines for breaking those rules, okay, they can be ridiculous. Like if you want to park your RV at home, but you don't have an RV pad, I can almost guarantee you there is an HOA rule for that. What about raising your own chickens and having homegrown eggs for breakfast? Well, many HOAs come with policies that are restrictive about the kind of animals and breeds you can have on your own property. You might even run into rules against the kind of storage shed you can keep on the property. Bottom line, make sure you read the fine print before you sign on the dotted line. Now, when it comes to HOAs, okay, there are so many traps and abuses that is a topic for a whole other video. In fact, I made an entire video about HOAs that you may want to watch here. In the meantime, Wendy out.